Do you feel managed by your clock more than your own creative ambition? Do you struggle to find enough time in the day to get everything done that you have in your mind and all the creative ideas that you have? Today, we're going to talk about the Creative Professional's Guide to Time Management. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the Creativity Made Easy podcast. My name is Dustin Peed, creative coach and consultant. I'm so excited to be with you today, episode 93, the Creative Professional's Guide to Time Management. Cannot wait to get into that with you. We're getting closer and closer to episode 100. We've got some special guests lined up. I cannot wait for that celebration as we get closer to that number. But before we get into today's episode, I want to remind you that I'm here to help creatives know themselves, their process, and their team so that they can create great things together. If that's you, I'm so glad that you're here. I feel like today is going to be super beneficial to you as we talk about this whole strategy with time management. We're going to get super practical with it today. So bust out your notes however you want to. You can find me online at dustinpeed.com, where I release a weekly newsletter, a weekly blog, and weekly podcast episodes, all to help you know yourselves, your process, and your teams. So let's get into today. I'm super pumped about this topic. This is where the rubber hits the road. We're kind of nearing the end of January at this point. We've kind of started some systems and some habits, hopefully for the new year. And in that comes probably the biggest thing that works against creatives is time management. We have all of these really great ideas that we struggle with seeing them actually come to fruition the way that we dreamed them up. And a lot of times it's because we're really poor at time management. So I want to give you a few techniques and things to consider as you move forward in your creativity so that you can manage your time better, create greater things. First thing, time blocking is huge. If you've never heard of time blocking, essentially says I'm going to carve out a certain amount of time each day, each week, each month, each quarter, each year, whatever it is. And I'm going to focus solely on this one, either type of task or solely on this one project. Either is great, but defining it up front is the key. And I would say even more than that, in order to be successful at time blocking, you really, really, really have to know yourself. That's why I say I help creatives know themselves, is because if you don't know yourself, you're going to have a harder time managing the time that you have in front of you. Time is yours to manage. It's not the other way around. Time doesn't manage you. You manage your time. And how you manage your time will determine the outflow and the creative output that you have in your endeavors. So time blocking is the first step to time blocking is knowing yourself. Knowing yourself could be a lot of different things. It could be personality profile tests. It could be getting feedback from those in your family, your friends, or your clients, asking them hard questions about how you work and how you're perceived. But it's also knowing a little bit about your energy zones. I've talked about this in the podcast before. Carey Nieuwhof wrote a book called At Your Best, and in it he talks about the green, yellow, and red energy zones. So when you're green, you're the most mentally sharp, right? That's when all your creative neurons are firing, and that's when you really want to capitalize on that time. You probably want to put your most thought-inducing tasks or projects or whatever you're working on, you want to put that in your green zone every day because that's when you're going to get your best. Hence the title of his book, At Your Best. Yellow is you can function pretty good. You're not quite as sharp. You're not dead to the world either. Yellow is really good for meetings. So that you can kind of interact and interchange and get the stuff that you need to know and save it for your green zone later. And then red is really what it sounds like. It's usually 2 or 3 hours a day where you're just kind of done. For a lot of people, including myself, it's in that like 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. range where you're just like, outside of me doing something physical, I'm not really going to accomplish much here. So that's a great time for exercise. It's a great time for mundane tasks like chores around the house, or maybe some little admin tasks that don't require you to think too much. That's good for your red zone. But knowing when you're green, knowing when you're yellow, and knowing when you're red will help you with your time blocking moving forward. Second key point. So time blocking is number one. Number two is you have to set priorities. If everything is important, then nothing is important. If everything is urgent, then nothing is urgent. And I'm using these two words here, urgent and important, because we had a President Dwight Eisenhower who came up with this own kind of urgent and important matrix system. It's referred to now as the Eisenhower Matrix. It's one of the free tools that I offer on my website, and I walk through with you in my coaching and consulting. But it's essentially saying, look, we're going to mind dump everything onto a list, and then one by one, we're going to go through and we're going to determine. Let's get real honest here. How urgent is this? And how important is this? And so some tasks are going to be extremely urgent and extremely important. That's called your priority. So if it falls into that block of both urgent and important, then that's your priority. Some tasks will fall into, they're super urgent, like they need to happen, but in the grand scheme of things, they're not super important for you to be able to do. That's a great opportunity for you to delegate or to buy back your time, as Dan Martell says. You can reach out to other people, some freelancers. You can bring on a virtual assistant, whatever it is. The urgent but not important things, that's great to delegate. Then you also have it's important, but it's not urgent. And this is where creatives get super happy with me, because I say, you know what you can do with the stuff that's really important, but it's not super urgent? I give you free permission to procrastinate. You can procrastinate those things. Yes, they are important, but they're not super urgent, so they don't get your priority today. And then there are things that are neither urgent or important. Those are things that you can either eliminate altogether. Like, you know what? I don't even know why I would need to do this. I should just rethink this as a task in general. And does it get my time? The thing that is the most valuable, like, does it get that? Or can I get rid of it? If you can get rid of it, great. If you're like, it still needs to happen, that's a great opportunity to, again, you can go back to delegating. Or it's 2025, folks. There's so many things you can do to automate tasks to buy back your time. So and when you're looking at your priority and you're looking at the Eisenhower Matrix, you want to just mind dump everything out onto a list, whether it's digital or a physical legal pad or a notebook or whatever. Get away from everything and just go, everything that's in my brain right now, I'm going to dump it out into a list. And you're going to go through that list and you're going to put them in each one of those four categories. It's either neither urgent or important. It's either urgent but not important. It's either important but not urgent, or it's both urgent and important. And once you know what's in that top block of both urgent and important, now you know your priority. Now you know what gets your time. Third thing, client management systems, right? The CRMs of the world, HubSpot, Go High Level. I use a white label version of Go High Level called VidLead Studio. What I love about VidLead Studio is it's specifically designed for creatives. Customer service is incredible. Onboarding was super easy. A lot of things are done for you. Setup was guided. I usually get my questions answered in less than 5 minutes. I would highly suggest, as you begin to grow your creative business, that you invest in a good quality CRM for customer management, for this customer relationship management. That's the CRM model, right? So whatever you use, HubSpot, Go High Level, there's a bunch of other ones out there, right? I encourage you to make an investment in that as soon as possible. It will level up your time priority because you won't be having all that stuff swim around in your head. You'll know I have systems for that. It's in process. There's a lot of automation in CRM. So if you're interested in the one that I mentioned earlier, VidLead Studio, this is not a paid sponsorship. They're not paying me at all. But if you can reach out to me, dp@dustinpeed.com or on Instagram @DustinPeed. I will connect you with my contacts over there at VidLead Studio, so we both get a little fun kickback in the process. But I'm super excited about everything that we're building through VidLead Studio. So client management. So number one, time blocking. Number two, you have to set priorities. And number three, some type of client management system to get that stuff out of your head and into some automations. And lastly, even if you don't have a team, you need to set some kind of team coordination or some type of clear expectations. Maybe you don't have a team. Maybe it's just you in your basement. Look, I get it. That's okay. You need to set clear expectations with yourself or clear expectations with your family or friends who may be wanting to ping you at certain times. There may be certain times of the day, going back up to knowing yourself, where you have to just kind of put your head down, do what they call in the IT world a good old-fashioned sprint, and get the thing done, you're going to have to turn on Do Not Disturb. You're going to have to get over the FOMO thing for 2 or 3 hours while you get your head down and you get the thing to work. But if you have a team, you need to communicate those expectations clearly and often. The 3 things that I mentioned earlier, especially time blocking and priorities, you should be constantly telling your team, here are the priorities and here are the time blocks that I'm going to do. Here are the times when I'm available. Here's when you can reach out to me. Here's when you can't reach out to me. Teams that know that will respect that. But when they don't respect it, it's because they don't know it. So you need to communicate it to them clearly and often. So 4 things: time blocking, priority setting, Eisenhower matrix, right? Client management systems, CRMs, and then team coordination, having some no-fly zones, maybe across the whole organization, saying, hey, look, every Wednesday from 9 to noon, no one's going to bother anybody. It's free heads down space. Everybody gets a pass for no one's going to interrupt you, right? Those are the type of things that will help you build a business strategy with practical time management. I want to offer you a resource. If you go to my website, dustinpeed.com, I do have an ebook on there called Asana for Creative Teams. A lot of these things that I talked about today are in that book as well. Or if you need me to come alongside you and help coach you in some of this time management stuff that I mentioned today, and guide you through the free tools that I offer, you can reach out to me on the website. Just click the Let's Talk button, hop on my calendar. I would love to chat with you about how I can help you win at time management and know yourself and know your process and know your team so that you can create greater things together. I cannot wait to be back with you next week, episode 94. We're going to talk about going from chaos to clarity. We're going to bring some organization into your creative business and focus on some systems and processes that will help you go from chaos to clarity. That's next time on the Creativity Made Easy podcast. I'll talk to you then.